Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about the Han Ignite theory. Alright, so this is a new Star Wars theory about The Force Awakens. This video will contain spoilers for The Force Awakens. Alright, so this theory posits that Han Solo ignited Kylo Ren's lightsaber when they were standing on the bridge, at essentially the large Star Killer, essentially the new large, multiple planet killing Death Star, right? All right. This is really, really fascinating. So I am really, really interested in this theory, and here's why. So when I heard the theory at first, I was like, oh no, that doesn't make sense, right? But then I listened to the full presentation of the theory. And when you listen to the presentation of the theory, it makes a lot of sense. And then this is a very, very strong theory because the more you look at the source material, the actual scene in the film between Han Solo and Kylo Ren, this theory makes more and more sense every time you see it. And the idea that Kylo Ren ignited his lightsaber does not make sense, okay? Now, this theory's been bouncing around a little bit, so I'm going to address the elephant in the room right away. So there are fans that are saying that this theory is already debunked, okay? And what their debunk evidence is the Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens official canon novelization. In that, it does declare that Kylo Ren ignites the lightsaber, okay? Now, I think that absolutely does not debunk this theory, and here's why, okay? One, there's a whole bunch of evidence that piece of evidence for debunking is absolutely not true. So one, Disney now has a massive problem. So what is the Han Ignite theory? The Han Ignite theory is such a strong theory, and I'll talk about it in a little more detail in a moment. It's such a strong theory that it's not actually a theory anymore, it's a story path, right? Once you hear it, you can't unhear it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this has huge ramifications for all the characters. It has huge ramifications for Leia, it has huge ramifications for Han, it has huge ramifications for Kylo Ren, right? It's a mega theory. Like, it's huge. It absolutely pivots the story of the current Star Wars, on its axis. Like, this is an incredibly important theory, okay? And I think what it is a story path. I think there's a good chance that the original writers wrote it in to give themselves room to move, or they planned it, or here's the biggest thing. The internet went to town, thought about the movie carefully, and they've come up with a far better through line. They've come up with a better continuation, a better story path than anything the Star Wars writers had created. And since Star Wars is being created right now, there's time to put it in, right? So I think it's really, really strong, and it should stand, right? Now, what do we do with an official Star Wars canon novelization declaring that Kylo Ren ignited later? Well, Disney has already declared, okay, so Disney's words is saying this is canon, but Disney's actions is saying it's not canon, okay? And what speaks louder, actions or words, okay? So Disney, right now, they're saying, hey, every single comic book we make, every video game we make, every book we make, it's all canon, right? And that's their words. But their actions are, hey, when we bought this, we wanted to tell a different story than the direction Star Wars was already heading with its ponderous amount of expanded universe material. And so what we did was we took out a bastard sword and we made massive slashes to the expanded universe. We threw out more than we kept, okay? So, there's terrible victims of that cut, like the Mandalorians, thousands of comic books, hundreds of books, dozens of video games, all just thrown away at the behest of Disney. So Disney's actions, right, Disney's actions declare that they're saying canon is what we decide canon is at any given moment. We've already gone to Star Wars canon and cut it. And that is our truest action, speaking louder than our words. We can change canon whenever we want, right? Now, in order to make the Han Ignite theory a reality, all you would need to do is edit like one paragraph in one novel. That's nothing. They've already taken a bastard's, like, that would be done with Schirschenschnitten scissors, right? They've already used a bastard sword to lop off entire, columns of Star Wars canon. So a minor edit to make this far better story path true. So the reality is this theory is not debunked until the credits on episode 9 roll. That's when it will be debunked, okay? All right, so let's talk about this, right? Here's why I think this theory is true. So I think it's absolutely true because the film itself very, very strongly indicates that it makes sense. Here's the dialogue between Han Solo and Kylo Ren. Han calls out Kylo's name, Ben, okay, because Kylo Ren is Ben Solo. So he actually, you know what? You can't say he's Ben Solo because there's no indication that that Han ever married Leia. So it's really, you can't even say he's Ben Solo. All we know is that his name is Ben, right? So he calls out Ben, and then he walks up to Ben. He walks up to Kylo Ren, and Kylo says to him, "I know what I need to do. But I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Will you help me?" So Kylo Ren literally asks for Han Solo's help, okay? Han Solo says, "Yes, anything." Kylo Ren takes out his lightsaber. Han puts his hands on the lightsaber, okay? And then at that point, the lightsaber ignites. And then, get this. Kylo Ren looks startled. If you think about it, it absolutely makes sense that Han Solo ignited the lightsaber. And the more you think about it, it doesn't make sense that Kylo Ren ignited the lightsaber, okay? So here's why it makes sense that Han Solo ignited the lightsaber. So Han Solo at this point, this is late in his life. He is being reflective, right? And he looks back and he sees that he has been a bad man, a bad paramour, and a bad father. What made him a bad man, right? Well, he loved Princess Leia, okay? She loved him. She's nobility, right? If you do that math, the logical step would have been for him to do the right thing and ask her to marry him, to make her his wife, so that they would be together forever. Like, that makes pure, absolute sense. There's a lot of indications within the film that he did not do that. That makes him a bad man, in my opinion, okay? There was no reason to do that to Leia, and also no reason to do that to Ben, right? Okay, he's a bad paramour, right? When you see the scene where he's talking to Leia, leave Ben out of it for a whole minute. It's clear he was never a good paramour to her. Even like, so there are men who choose not to marry their paramours, right? And those men, and some of those men then do everything they can to be there for that paramour, to deliver on every level. It's clear from his discussion, he absolutely did not do that. There were times where not only did he need to be there, it's clear that not only were there times that he needed to be there for Ben, there were times that he needed to be there for Leia that he wasn't, right? So he was a bad paramour. The evidence that he was a bad father is overwhelming. His son is a hair's breadth from being a Sith. Like, it's clear that when he should have been being a good father to his son, teaching his son, that he wasn't. He was a bad man, he was a bad paramour, he was a bad father. Now, all of this is consistent with Han Solo that we see in the films. he's labeled a scoundrel. He turns out to be a scoundrel, right? He is, the quintessential bad boy, and so at the end, he's standing there in front of his son, who is super evil, who has dedicated his life to Darth Vader's legacy, his grandfather's legacy. So here's Han Solo. He has neglected this boy in every way. He failed to marry his mother. He failed to be a good paramour to his mother. He failed to be a good father to Kylo. This is now, so what does igniting the lightsaber give Ben? What does it do for Kylo Ren? Well, at this point, Kylo Ren, a lot. Here's what it does. Kylo Ren is in the deep, deep end of the pool, okay? On the Sith, on the road to being a Sith, okay? And dealing with Snoke, if he fails to kill his father, Snoke isn't going to go, bad Sith apprentice, bad Dark Jedi apprentice, you fail. He's going to kill him. There's a really good chance. There's a lot of evidence that he would kill him, right? And that, that would be it. That would be the end for Kylo Ren, right? And now, Han Solo has clearly failed to be a good man, a good husband, and a good father, right? But I don't think for a second. But that's one thing that Han Solo, when you're in a pinch and you need to do the hard thing, Han Solo's always done that, right? So if he ignites that lightsaber at that moment, he protects Kylo Ren. He gives him time, right? He literally protects him from Snoke's wrath, and he also gives him more time to turn away from the dark side, right? And even this is the darkest consideration. There's a possibility that Han Solo's love for Kylo Ren is so deep that he's like, if you're going to be a Sith, be a full-on Sith, man. Let's make you a Sith. If this is truly what you want, because I've never given you anything you wanted, not even my own time, right? Which was probably all you ever wanted, then let me give this to you. So it works at every single level, right? It also doesn't work to think that Kylo Ren killed Han then. And the reason why is Kylo Ren is a neglected son. What does a neglected son want? He wants closeness and time with his father. Kylo Ren literally has that right there at that moment. Okay, Han is there and he's saying, I'm here and I'll do anything for you, right? So right then is the last time in the world that you would ever see Kylo Ren harm his father. His father's there. This is a moment he's been denied all his life. Kylo Ren has every single reason to at least get, just enjoy this one thing that he's been denied all his life. It makes perfect logical sense for Han Solo to ignite the lightsaber, and it really doesn't make any logical sense for Kylo Ren to ignite the lightsaber. Right? So I think this is an incredibly strong theory. I think it's so strong that what it really is it's a possible story path. And I think it's the story path that is the most true to the Star Wars legacy. So one, I'm absolutely hoping, and I make a request right now to Disney, make this true, right? And do the canon edit. It just requires snipping one single paragraph from a canon book, and that's more than, you've made that 100% evidence that is fully within your power. So I believe 100% that the Han Ignite theory is absolutely true. It is the strongest Star Wars story path there is, and I was thrilled to hear this. It really makes a ton of sense. Take care, everybody.